Good morning, champions. Today, I am not here to impress you. I am here to impact you, because life is not about impressing people, it's about expressing purpose. Let me tell you something the world will never advertise on a billboard. Confidence is not a gift, it is cultivated. You are not born with it, you build it. And most people will never tell you the real secrets, because confident people don't compete. They dominate. Most people think confidence is something you either have or you don't. They believe it's a personality trait that some people are born with, while others are doomed to live in the shadows of self-doubt. But I want to tell you something today that may challenge everything you've been told. Confidence is not a gift, it is a byproduct of self-discovery. You don't wake up one day with confidence simply because you desire it. Confidence comes as a result of knowing, understanding, and accepting who you truly are. It is not a feeling that falls from the sky. It is a state of being that grows when you become intimately aware of your identity, your purpose, and your unique design. The reason so many people struggle with low self-confidence is because they've spent their entire lives trying to fit into molds that were never designed for them. From childhood, society, culture, and sometimes even meaning family members begin to project their expectations onto us. They tell us who we should be, what we should do, and how we should live. And slowly, layer by layer, we begin to cover up our authentic selves with identities that are not ours. We wear titles, job descriptions, and social labels as if they define us. But deep down there's a silent frustration, a quiet desperation, because we know we're living a life that does not fully represent who we are. That's why confidence feels so far away. You can't be confident pretending to be someone else. You can't walk with boldness when your footsteps are following a path someone else drew for you. Real confidence can only emerge when you strip away all the external noise and take a journey inward to rediscover yourself. The moment you reconnect with your original self, the self that was formed with purpose, potential, and power, that's the moment confidence will no longer feel like a performance. It will become your natural state of existence. This is why self-discovery is not an option, it's a necessity. You cannot express on the outside what you have not discovered on the inside. Confidence is not about loudness or arrogance. It's not about walking into a room and demanding attention. True confidence is quiet assurance. It's the calm knowing that you are exactly who you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you are supposed to do, regardless of who applauds or who criticizes. Self-discovery requires intentional effort. It doesn't happen by accident. You must be willing to separate yourself from the noise of the crowd to hear the whispers of your own soul. This is why moments of reflection are so critical. When was the last time you sat in silence and asked yourself, who am I really? Not your job title, not your family role, not the opinions people have about you, but the real you. The you that existed before the world began labeling you. That's where confidence begins, and let me tell you this, your confidence will never be greater than your clarity of purpose. When you know why you exist, when you understand the assignment that is uniquely yours, you stop competing with other people. You begin to realize that no one can be you better than you. That realization alone is enough to eliminate insecurity. Because the only competition in life is between the person you are today and the person you were designed to become. Confidence is not built in public, it is forged in private. It is in those quiet battles, when you are practicing your craft, refining your skills, working on your weaknesses, that confidence begins to grow. The world sees the performance, but confidence is grown in the preparation. You cannot shortcut this process. Confidence is not faked, it is cultivated. Every day you are either feeding your confidence or feeding your doubts. The conversations you have with yourself, the content you consume, the people you surround yourself with, they all contribute to the development of your self-image. If you want to become a person of unshakable confidence, you must make it a daily discipline to affirm your identity, sharpen your strengths, and protect your environment. But perhaps the most profound truth about confidence is this: it is not about eliminating fear. It is about moving forward in spite of fear, because you are so anchored in who you are that fear has no power to paralyze you. Confidence is courage in motion. It is the decision to take action, even when you feel uncertain, because yourself. Discovery has given you an internal compass that points you in the right direction. You see, the world is full of people who are performing confidence, but very few who are living it. The difference lies in self-discovery. When you know who you are, you don't have to perform. You just show up, fully aligned, fully authentic, fully empowered. So if you want to live a life of confidence, stop looking for it externally. Stop thinking it will come through titles, likes, money, or recognition. Confidence begins the day you commit to rediscovering the person you were always meant to be. The day you meet your true self is the day confidence becomes inevitable. Confidence is not a product you can buy, and it is not a talent you are born with. Confidence is the result of a deep journey called self-discovery. The tragedy is that most people are busy trying to look confident without ever taking the time to become confident. You see, when you don't know who you are, you will always look for something external to validate you. But validation from outside is temporary. It fades the moment circumstances change or people's opinions shift. Real, unshakable confidence comes when you know who you are, why you are, and what you were born to do. Self-discovery is not a luxury, it is a necessity for anyone who wants to live a life of significance. You can't express what you haven't discovered. Confidence is simply the external manifestation of an internal revelation. The world teaches you to dress a certain way, to talk a certain way, to earn certain degrees, and then maybe you'll feel confident. But let me tell you this truth. Confidence has nothing to do with appearance and everything to do with awareness. The moment you discover who you are, you step into a realm where you no longer seek permission to be yourself. You understand that you carry within you a unique combination of gifts, personality, and purpose that no one else possesses. That realization is the root of confidence. People who have discovered themselves walk into rooms and don't need applause to feel valuable. They are not arrogant, they are simply aware. Confidence is quiet when you are rooted in identity. It does not need to shout, it simply radiates. But here's the second truth most people overlook. Confidence grows in private before it shines in public. We live in a generation that is obsessed with platforms and followers, but confidence is not developed on a stage. It is developed in the secret place. It is built in those hours when no one is watching, when you are practicing, preparing, refining, and confronting your own fears. Everyone admires the person who speaks boldly in front of thousands, but very few realize that boldness was born in private moments of discipline, study, and inner work. Confidence is not magic. It is the result of preparation meeting purpose. The problem is, many people want the appearance of confidence without going through the process. They want the fruit without the root, but it doesn't work that way. You cannot skip the private process and expect public mastery. The more time you spend developing yourself when no one is clapping, the less you will need approval when you are in the spotlight. You cannot fake confidence for long. The moment life shakes you, only what's real will remain. That's why private preparation is not optional. It's essential. Every day you have a choice. You can spend your time chasing quick validation, or you can invest it in private growth. The difference between a person who crumbles under pressure and a person who thrives is found in how they use their private moments. Confidence is built in the dark before it is displayed in the light. You must be willing to do the work that no one sees, to earn the strength that everyone desires. The hidden hours matter. They are where you rehearse, refine, and most importantly, rediscover your identity every single day. Let me also tell you this, the journey of self-discovery is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process. As you grow, as seasons change, you must constantly realign with your purpose and reassess your values. Confidence is like a muscle. If you stop working it, it will weaken. That's why daily self-reflection, reading, journaling, and refining your environment are necessary disciplines. You are either feeding your confidence or starving it, based on your daily habits. When you see someone who walks with calm assurance, don't be fooled into thinking they never had insecurities. What you're seeing is someone who has done the inner work, someone who has had countless private battles with doubt and fear, and has won those battles through intentional growth. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. It is the courage to move forward even when fear is present, because your foundation is not built on opinions but on purpose. You must come to a place where your confidence is rooted so deeply in who you are that no external circumstance can shake it. That requires private victories. It requires time spent in reflection, in discipline, and in focused preparation. Every great leader, every impactful voice you admire has gone through this process. They didn't wake up one day confident, they built it layer by layer through self-discovery and private work. The truth is, you don't need to chase confidence. You need to chase clarity. Clarity of identity, clarity of purpose, and clarity of assignment. When you find clarity, confidence will find you. It will flow naturally from a place of internal security that the world cannot touch. Most people think confidence is an external expression, something you show to the world through posture, tone, and image. But in truth, confidence is an internal revelation. It is not something you act. It is something you become after discovering who you are. You see, the world has mastered teaching people how to perform confidence, but very few have taught us how to build it from within. Confidence is not a gift you are born with. It is a byproduct of self-discovery. Until you know who you are, why you are, and what you carry, you will always feel like you are performing for acceptance. But when you truly discover your identity, when you uncover your purpose, confidence becomes as natural as breathing. You will no longer need to introduce yourself with your job title or your social status, because your very presence will speak louder than your words. Self-discovery is not a surface journey. It is not about what people say you are. It's about finding out what was placed inside you before the opinions of people ever touched you. The problem is, many people are busy becoming what society told them to be, and they never take the time to ask themselves the deeper question, who am I really? The absence of self-discovery is the breeding ground for insecurity. Because if you don't know who you are, you'll try to be everything others expect, and in doing so, you will dilute your authenticity. But the moment you rediscover your true self, you begin to walk in a level of confidence that is unshaken by applause and untouched by criticism. But there's a secret the world rarely tells you. Confidence doesn't grow on the stage. Confidence grows in private. Before you see someone standing boldly in public, you must understand the hidden hours of preparation that nobody saw. Confidence is forged in the dark places. When you're practicing, when you're reading, when you're rehearsing, when you're having honest conversations with yourself. These are the unseen moments where you sharpen your sword. The public will see the sharpness, but they will never see the grind that made it so. You cannot fake true confidence. You might imitate it for a moment, but life will test you, and when that test comes, only what has been built in private will stand firm in public. This is why the obsession with platforms is dangerous. Too many people want the spotlight without the process. They want recognition without preparation. But confidence that is not rooted in private mastery will collapse under public pressure. You cannot skip the secret place. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you train it in private, the stronger it becomes in public. Every speech you give, every skill you refine, every moment of discipline you embrace in silence, builds a reservoir of internal assurance. And when you finally step onto the stage, you are not hoping to be confident, you are simply displaying what you've already built. But even after self-discovery and private preparation, confidence must be protected. And it's protected not by people's opinions, but by the standards you set for your life. If you live by people's approval, you will die by their rejection. Confidence is safeguarded by the boundaries you establish. Boundaries that define who has access to your space, what you will tolerate, what you will entertain, and what you will absolutely reject. The reason some people feel their confidence crumbling is not because they are incapable, but because they have allowed too many external voices to dictate their internal state. When you set standards for your life, you create a fortress around your confidence. Standards act like walls that protect your mental and emotional space. They are not designed to isolate you, they are designed to preserve the clarity of who you are. Without standards, opinions will dominate you. But when your life is governed by clear principles and non-negotiable values, no external noise can penetrate your sense of identity. Confidence thrives in environments where standards are enforced. And let me tell you, the enforcement of standards is not a public announcement. It is a private commitment. You don't need to explain your standards to people. You don't need to justify why you protect your time, your energy, your focus. People may not understand it, but your future requires it. Confidence is not an accident, it is a disciplined lifestyle choice. Every time you say no to distractions and yes to your purpose, you are reinforcing the walls that protect your confidence. So, confidence begins with self-discovery. It is developed in private, and it is protected by standards. These are not motivational statements, they are principles. And when you live by principles, you don't beg for confidence. It becomes a natural extension of who you are. Most people misunderstand confidence. They think it's something you either have or you don't. But the truth is, confidence is never given to you. It is born out of self-discovery. Until you know who you are, confidence will always feel like a performance. You can dress up, you can rehearse lines to sound bold. But if you haven't discovered the real you, there will always be a silent insecurity underneath the surface. Confidence is the outward manifestation of an inward revelation. You don't wake up confident because of what you wear or what people call you. You become confident the moment you truly discover your identity, when you understand your uniqueness, your gifts, your assignment on this earth. The reason why many people lack confidence is not because they are not talented, but because they are not aware. Awareness of your purpose is the foundation of unshakable confidence. But discovering yourself is not an instant event, it's a lifelong journey. And once you begin to uncover who you are, there is another principle you must understand. Confidence is not built in public, it is built in private. The performances you see, the speeches you admire, the leaders you respect. What you're witnessing is not magic. It is the fruit of countless private hours of preparation. You cannot skip this process. Confidence is like a muscle that grows in secret, in the early morning when no one is watching, in the late nights when everyone else is sleeping. That's where confidence is forged. Public applause means nothing if you have not conquered yourself in private. Because when the lights go off and the crowd disappears, you are left with yourself. And if you haven't invested in that private self, no amount of external validation will fill the void. True confidence is built away from the spotlight, and when it's time to step forward, you're not trying to impress. You're simply expressing what you have already mastered in secret. Yet even after self-discovery and private growth, confidence remains fragile if it is not protected. The third principle is that confidence is safeguarded by the standards you set, not by the opinions of others. If you allow people's opinions to define you, you will constantly rise and fall based on their approval. But when you set personal standards, boundaries that dictate how you spend your time, who has access to your energy, and what you will or will not tolerate, your confidence gains an invisible shield. Standards are not just rules, they are self-respect in action. The reason many people feel drained, insecure, or lost is because they've allowed too many external voices to have access to their internal world. Confidence is preserved when you learn to say no without apology. You don't owe explanations for the boundaries you set around your focus, your peace, or your growth. Standards create an environment where confidence can thrive undisturbed by the noise of the outside world. But here is a truth many forget. Confidence is not a one-time achievement. Confidence requires daily maintenance. Just like a muscle will weaken if not exercised, your confidence will diminish if not nourished. Every single day, you must invest in yourself. Through reflection, through learning, through speaking life into your own soul. The world is filled with noise that will try to make you question your worth. But you must build rituals that remind you of your identity. Morning affirmations, moments of gratitude, feeding your mind with content that uplifts your purpose. These are not motivational gimmicks, they are survival disciplines, because every day you either feed your confidence or you starve it. Confidence is a living force inside you, and it responds to the level of attention you give it. You cannot build it once and expect it to carry you forever. Confidence must be revisited, reaffirmed, and recalibrated as you evolve. As new challenges arise, as seasons of life change, you must upgrade the inner dialogue you have with yourself. The battles you won yesterday will not automatically prepare you for the demands of tomorrow. Consistent personal growth is the maintenance fee of lasting confidence. The people you admire who carry themselves with unwavering boldness are not doing so because they're extraordinary. They are doing so because they've disciplined themselves to maintain their inner foundation daily. Confidence is not a gift reserved for a few. It is a cultivated state of being that anyone can develop if they commit to the principles, discover yourself, do the private work, protect your standards, and maintain the habits that fuel your growth. When you align yourself with these principles, confidence will not be something you chase. It will be something that radiates from you effortlessly and authentically. Most people believe confidence is a personality trait. They think it's a natural gift, something you either have or you don't. But confidence is not a gift, it's a result. It is the byproduct of self-discovery. Until you truly know who you are, you will always look outside yourself for validation. You will seek approval, applause, and affirmation from others because you haven't yet built it within. But the moment you embark on the journey of self-discovery, everything changes. You realize that confidence is not about impressing others. It's about expressing who you are without apology. It's not found in your titles, your income, or your appearance. It's found in your identity, the one you were born with before the world began telling you who to be. But self-discovery is not enough. Once you discover who you are, you must go through the hidden process of developing that confidence in private. Confidence is not born on a stage. It is built in the quiet moments when no one is watching. The performances that captivate crowds are a reflection of hours, days, and years of private preparation. You cannot fake what you haven't forged. People want the stage, but they forget the secret place. Every great speaker, every confident leader, every influential voice you admire has paid a price in the unseen. It is in those quiet battles of discipline, practice, and self-confrontation that confidence grows roots. Without those roots, public platforms become dangerous because they expose the unprepared. You don't build confidence in the light, you display it in the light. The building always happens in the dark. And even after you've done the work of self-discovery and private growth, confidence must be protected. Confidence is fragile in environments where standards are low and opinions are high. If you allow people's opinions to define you, your confidence will rise and fall like the tide. But when you set non-negotiable standards for your life, standards for how you invest your time, who you allow into your inner circle, what conversations you entertain, you create boundaries that protect your inner confidence. Standards are not rules, they are protective walls for your self-worth. The people who maintain high levels of confidence are not necessarily the most talented, but they are the most disciplined about who they allow to influence their mind and spirit. You don't need to argue with people about your standards. You don't need to justify them. You just need to live by them. When you stop giving unqualified people the right to define you, your confidence becomes unshakable. But even with high standards, confidence is not something you achieve once and keep forever. Confidence requires daily maintenance. It is like a flame that must be fed consistently, or it will die out. Every day, life will send challenges, distractions, and voices that attempt to diminish your sense of worth. That's why you must make it a daily discipline to nurture your confidence. Speak life over yourself every morning. Feed your mind with content that aligns with your purpose. Reflect on your victories, learn from your failures, and stay grounded in your identity. Confidence is not a feeling you wait for. It's a state you cultivate. You must protect your mornings, guard your evenings, and stay intentional with what you allow to enter your mental space. Confidence is not built in grand moments. It's built in daily routines. The people you see walking boldly are not doing it by accident. They are maintaining it through daily habits of growth, reflection, and affirmation. But even with all this, the ultimate truth about confidence is this: it is not the absence of fear. It is courage in motion. Confidence is not waiting for fear to disappear. It's moving forward in spite of fear. You can never eliminate fear completely, but you can master it. People who live boldly are not fearless. They are decisive. They choose to act while others are paralyzed by what-ifs. Fear is a signal, not a stop sign. It's a reminder that you are stepping into unfamiliar territory, but it is not a reason to retreat. Confidence is the ability to keep moving forward, even when doubt is whispering in your ear. It's the audacity to say, "I will not shrink back," even when the outcome is uncertain. Every step you take in spite of fear strengthens your confidence. Every act of courage, no matter how small, compounds into a reservoir of inner boldness that no external circumstance can shake. Confidence is not a title, it's not a show, it's not a mask you put on for the world. It is the authentic expression of a person who knows who they are, who has done the private work, who protects their mental environment, who maintains their growth daily, and who moves forward in spite of fear. Confidence is not something you find, it's something you build. And once you build it, it becomes the invisible force that opens doors, breaks limitations, and empowers you to fulfill your assignment. Confidence is not a personality trait, and it is certainly not a performance act. It is the natural outcome of a person who has taken the time to discover who they are. You cannot walk confidently in a life you do not understand. The greatest tragedy is that most people are living lives defined by other people's expectations. They are trapped in titles, labels, and roles that society has placed upon them, never taking the time to ask, "Who am I really?" Confidence cannot grow in confusion. Until you discover your true identity, why you exist, what you carry, and what makes you unique, confidence will always feel like a mask you put on for others rather than a reality you live for yourself. The day you meet your true self is the day you'll stop performing and start expressing. That's the foundation where real confidence begins. But knowing who you are is not enough. The world celebrates the public display of confidence, but ignores the private preparation that builds it. Confidence is not developed on a stage, it is forged in the secret place. Those who carry a commanding presence in public are the ones who have paid the price in private. Behind every powerful voice you admire are countless hours of solitude, practice, and refinement. Confidence grows in silence, when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, and when no applause is guaranteed. It's in those moments where you confront your fears, discipline your habits, and master your craft. That is where confidence is built. Public visibility without private preparation is a formula for public embarrassment. Confidence that is not rooted in private victories will always collapse under public pressure. You can't fake what you haven't forged. You must do the work in secret if you expect to walk boldly in public. But even after you've discovered yourself and developed in private, confidence must be protected. It is not an automatic shield, it requires boundaries. Confidence is protected not by the opinions of others, but by the standards you set for your life. If you live for the approval of people, you will be destroyed by their rejection. Standards are your personal gatekeepers. They determine who has access to your time, your energy, and your mental space. When your standards are low, your confidence becomes vulnerable to every comment, every rejection, and every distraction. But when you set high standards, when you define what you will accept and what you will reject, you create an environment where your confidence can breathe freely. You are not required to explain your standards. You are only required to live by them. The more disciplined you are with your boundaries, the stronger your confidence will remain, no matter the noise around you. Yet even with strong standards, confidence is not a one-time achievement. It is a living force that requires daily maintenance. Confidence is like a flame that can flicker if neglected. Every day you are either feeding it or starving it. This is why daily rituals of reflection, affirmation, and personal growth are non-negotiable. You cannot afford to start a day without aligning yourself with your identity and purpose. The world will always try to distract you, to discourage you, to redefine you. But if you start your day grounded in who you are, you become unshakable. Confidence doesn't last by accident. It lasts by intentional daily discipline. Small habits of growth, consistent reflection, and mindful environment control are what keep your confidence alive and expanding. And here's a truth most people overlook. Confidence does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward even when fear is present. Confidence is courage in motion. It's the decision to take a step despite trembling hands and uncertain outcomes. Fear is not your enemy. It's an indicator that you are stretching beyond your comfort zone. Those who wait for fear to disappear will wait forever. Those who decide to act in spite of fear will see their confidence multiply through experience. Every time you move forward in fear, you're strengthening the muscle of courage, and that courage turns into confidence over time. Confidence is not built in your feelings, it is built in your decisions. You don't need to feel brave to act bravely. Action itself is what gives birth to the feeling of confidence. But the highest form of confidence is born when your life is aligned with purpose clarity. When you know why you exist and are committed to fulfilling that assignment, confidence becomes effortless. Purpose gives you a direction, and with direction comes a sense of certainty. You are no longer swayed by every trend, opinion, or opportunity because your life has a compass. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room when you are the most purposeful. Confidence is not about volume, it is about alignment. When you're walking in your purpose, confidence becomes the silent authority that follows you. It is no longer about impressing anyone. It's about fulfilling an assignment that is bigger than you. So I want you to understand this. Confidence is not something you find. It's something you uncover, build, protect, and nurture. You don't borrow confidence from people. You don't fake it for approval. And you certainly don't wait for the world to give it to you. Confidence is the natural overflow of a person who has discovered their true identity, done the private work, set unshakable standards, maintained daily discipline, acted in the face of fear, and aligned themselves with their divine purpose. The moment you know who you are and why you are, the opinions of people lose their power. The noise around you becomes irrelevant because your assignment becomes louder than your insecurities. Confidence is not about walking into a room and trying to prove your worth. It's about walking into every space knowing you carry worth that cannot be negotiated. So my challenge to you is simple. Stop chasing confidence and start discovering yourself. Stop waiting for permission and start walking in purpose. Stop fearing rejection and start enforcing your standards. And remember, every step you take in spite of fear is a step toward unshakable confidence. The world doesn't need another person pretending to be bold. The world needs you, authentic, prepared, disciplined, fearless, and purpose-driven. Because when you stand in the fullness of who you are, confidence is no longer a performance. It becomes your presence.